as I said the other day, I got started in this by seeing young people that were good kids, smart kids, good students that just had to leave school because their parents couldn't afford for them to go to school. Let me explain a little bit about that. And it seems strange to me in a third world country, but it's true. All students in school, from elementary school through university, wear uniforms. They wear their school uniform, which they wear twice a week. They have to have a sports uniform, they have to have a scout uniform, and they have to have a traditional dress uniform. Okay? The Thai government says education is free, but they provide one uniform. But mandatory, you have to have 4 different uniforms. Well, while they don't cost a lot of money each uniform, if you don't have any money, you just can't afford it. A lot of the schools have a tuition, and the tuition is very inexpensive. If I was to tell you the price, you would think, well, that's not much. And it's not for us. But if you don't have any money, it's undoable. And if you have 2 or 3 kids, then you're multiplying the price. Now, the reason the people don't have money is because most of them are farmers, and they only have a certain amount of land that they can farm. So let's just give you an example. If the inside of this building was the amount of land I have to farm, okay, I could farm that by myself. I would get so much for that. But there's not enough on this amount of land to feed my family for a year. So not only do I not have enough to feed my family for a year, I don't have any surplus to sell. So I have no money. My family eats probably 5-6 months off what I can grow. So I can't afford for my child to go to school. So my child quits school and starts working on the family farm. Now there's 2 of us. Well, then the next child, I can't afford for them to go to school either. So there's more and more people working a small piece of ground. But they're not getting any more produce from what they're farming than what they have. And you say, well, why don't they get more land? The people that we work with live in national forest. They're grandfathered in because they were there before it was a national forest. And so the land that they have is theirs, and they can use it, and their children can use it, and they can pass it down in their family. But they can't buy any more land. Even if they had money, they couldn't buy any more land. But since they don't have any money, they can't do that. So human trafficking is terrible in Thailand. People from Bangkok, and this isn't a pleasant subject, but it's a reality, would come to the mountains and they would say, Ivan, look, you got some kids and you want them to have a better life than you have, don't you? Well, we'll take them to Bangkok and we'll give them a job. They'll have a place to live, they'll have a job, they're going to have a life better than you do. And I know you're going to lose a worker, so we're going to give you 500 baht. It's about $15. And then they take those kids to Bangkok and make them into sex slaves. Now, like I said, it's not pleasant to talk about, but that's the reality of what we're dealing with. The Thai government has seen the work that we're doing, in fact, has asked me to educate the kids in the mountains. And so that's one of the things we have to talk about is, look, someone's going to promise you these great things, but they're not. When you get there, you're not going to have great things. And so education becomes very important because the only way out of poverty is education. And so we have taken these young people and we try to give them the best education that we can. Some of this is hard because a lot of the young people that we help, their parents are dead. We have 2 young ladies that we help that their mother died when they were in 1st grade. Their dad died when they were in 2nd grade. We met them when they were starting to go into 10th grade. We go and we interview these young people that ask for help. We go and sit and we talk with each one of them. And we sat down with this girl and she started telling me her story. And I'm a little tender-hearted. The Thai people tell me I'm too soft-hearted because I want to help everybody, and I just can't, but I want to. I started crying. She started telling me about her situation. She was raised by an aunt and uncle who don't speak Thai, and she's not sure what side of the border she was born on. Was she born in Burma or was she born in Thailand? And because of that, and because her parents are dead, and she doesn't have a Thai ID card. So in order for her to go to Chiang Mai, we have to get permission from the Thai government every year for her to cross the province border to come to Chiang Mai to study. So we talked to her, and usually we tell the kids, okay, sometime next month we will get in touch with you. But I said, okay, you go over there. I need to talk with these people. So I talked to my fellow workers, and I said, I don't know about y'all, but I need to help this girl. And they said, yeah, we do too. And I said, okay. I called her back over, and I said, we're going to give you an offer to come to Chiang Mai. You can live with us. We will take care of you. We will feed you. We will clothe you. We will send you to school. We'll get you extra education so that you can get into university. She said, thank you. And so we said, the next girl can come. She said, what about my sister? I said, where's your sister? And she said, over there. So I said, bring her over. So she came and we talked to her. Both of them at that time wanted to be nurses. Unfortunately, because they do not have Thai IDs, they can't get into nursing school. And so they changed their plans. They're going to be teachers, and they are both in university now to become teachers. Talked to the second girl, cried again. We said, okay, we want you both to come to Chiang Mai. They started to go away, and they said, what about our friend who lives in our village? I said, where is she? They said, over there. So she came over and she said that she's doing the best that she can. She does have a Thai ID card, but she'd had a brain tumor as a child, and so she had had several surgeries, and her parents are completely out of money. She doesn't have any way to study the next year, and she came to Chiang Mai too. And so we help as many of these young people as we can. But it becomes a problem in that we have to find, number one, ways to support them, ways to take care of them, ways to feed them, ways to clothe them. We have one young lady who, I'll just say this, she had the prettiest smile of anybody I've seen anywhere in the world. From the time she was a little bitty girl, her smile would light up a room. She got into 7th grade, and all of a sudden she changed. She never smiled. She started having bad grades. I said, Gam, what's going on? I don't know. Well, come to find out, well, some of this stuff's not pretty, but it's true. When she started having her mints, she had it for 3 years without stopping. And she didn't know that wasn't normal. And the iron in her body was depleted to the point that she couldn't function. And so I took her to Chiang Mai. Took her to the hospital. The doctor said, we thought she was starting to have mental problems, and the blood doctor said, has nothing to do with that. As soon as we can get her blood regulated, or the iron in her blood regulated, she's going to be fine. And so we started paying for medicine. $300 a month of medicine. That's okay. I just tighten my belt a little more. I've been putting on weight since I'm in America, so I'll be all right when I get back. But that money has to come from somewhere. Usually it comes from us, unless we can find somebody to sponsor. Now, this girl is sponsored to go to school, but that only covers her schooling. Doesn't cover medicine, doesn't cover a lot of other things. And so that money has to come from somewhere. Usually it comes from us. The elder over missions at the congregation that supports me fusses at me all the time. He said, how much do you spend a month on yourself? And I said, I don't really want to tell you. And he said, I want to know, how much do you use for you? And I said, about $400 a month. And he said, you've got to use more money for you and your family. And I said, I'm not built that way. If I see people that need help and I can help them at all, I'm going to do it. And so we work hard to get these kids an education to have a chance. We have we've started working with a nursing school, and they give us a little bit of cut on price because we bring so many young ladies there to go through this training. We now have 6 young ladies working in hospitals have gone through our program. We have several teachers, and we're about to have more teachers. We actually have 6 girls in university right now that are trained to be teachers. And so you say, what about the young men? The young men all want to be preachers, and we want them to be preachers, but even that, taking care of these guys, I got to tell you, I don't know how many people are here tonight. Guess, how many people are here?
50.
50, okay. If we're going to have 50 Thai people and we're going to prepare food for them, we have to prepare for 150 people because they don't get food. And when you put food in front of them, they will eat a lot. Little bitty, skinny Thai girls can eat 3 big plates of rice with meat on top of it. I can't eat that much. I can eat a lot, but I can't eat that much, but they can. And so we have to plan for 3 times the amount of people that we have when we prepare for food. I don't know if I told this story here or not, but we were going to have camp. And so we decided to bring some young people ahead of time to help we had to rent a school, and they were going to help clean the school, get the beds ready, the mats on the floor, that is, all that. And so we had bought and butchered 2 pigs and a goat. That was going to be our meat through the week. The 2 days that they worked cleaning the school and preparing it, they ate all of it. So before the camp started, all the food that we prepared ahead of time was gone. And the cooks called me and said, what do we do? And I said, we don't have a choice. We have to buy more food. They said, where's the money going to come from? I said, I don't know, but we've got to get more food because I want these kids to eat till they're full. And so we bought a lot of meat that week. We had 230 people, and so we're feeding each meal about like you'd feed 600. And they eat that much, and they eat it all. It's not like we prepare for 600 and then we have all this left over. There's none left. They eat it all. We went, I don't know how much rice you eat a meal. We went through 10, I don't know what the word in English is, gasop. Big bags of rice. 50-kilo bags of rice. So that's over 100 pounds of rice in each bag. We went through 10 of them in 3 days. They can eat. And so, this all costs money. But you know what? To me, that's a small part of this because I want them to eat, to be full. I want them to get education. I want them to have a good life now and in eternity. So the education is important. Having the kids healthy is important because if they're not healthy, they can't study. So we need them healthy. We need them have the energy that they need to be able to study and to learn their trade or be able to go to university so that they can have the work they need to take care of themselves and their family. We have another problem with the kids though. Once they get jobs, we have a problem with them because they want to say, okay, I got this many dollars or bought from my job, so I'm going to take this much and send to my parents. And I say, tell them, what are you going to live on? They don't understand. They want to give all because they know how their parents are living and they want to help them. And I love that about them. But I have to teach them, look, you have bills you have to pay here. You need to eat here. So you have to keep a portion of your salary for you. Whatever's left, if you want to send that back to your parents, fantastic. But you have to keep enough to take care of you, because if you don't take care of you, you're going to be sick, and then you're not going to be able to work, and then you're not going to be able to help your family. So there's a lot of different kinds of education that go on in the work that we do. Okay, let's take some questions, if there's some questions. Okay.
When are you going to learn to take care of you?
That's why he didn't tell me ahead of time. I'll give you a biblical answer. Hebrew writer says there yet awaits a rest for the children of God, and that's not now. And so sometimes we sing, we'll work till Jesus comes, and so that's sort of my plan. I know I have to take care of me. I try to do that, but when there's so much work to do, it's hard to stop. You just keep going.
Do those become Christians while they're in their schools?
About 80% of them, and their families, and their villages. Because when they see the change in these young people, that speaks louder than anything else. When they see their kids change from having no purpose and no direction in life to being responsible young people and helping their families, and they say there's something to this Christianity, and they want to know more about it. And so it has been the greatest evangelistic tool that I know of, and it wasn't because of me, it was because of God, because it wasn't my intention. My intention was to help them have a good life here, and God meant it for a lot more than that. And I'm so thankful that it's developed in that way, to where so many people have learned the gospel because of the work that we do.
You was talking about how you bring the people in and keep them in dorms while they're in school.
Okay, we bring 10th, 11th, and 12th graders down from the mountains, because the education level is not the same. The standard's not the same in the mountains as it is in the city. And as we talked about a little bit on Sunday, there's not enough universities. And so even after we bring them down, some of them don't make it into university, and so we put them into a job training program of some kind, because we want them to have some kind of a job. But we want, first of all, for them to have a goal, a direction, somewhere they want to go, and we try to help them get to that point. We had one young lady that she wanted to be a nurse. That's all she wanted to be. And to be honest, her grades weren't good enough to get into nursing school. And we kept trying to talk to her and say, look, we want to help you reach your goal, but your grades aren't good enough. Well, I'm going to test and get in. I said, okay. And so we took her to test after test after test at university after university. She kept getting turned down. She came in crying. She said, I can't get in. My parents tell me I have to go home. I said, let's just stop a minute. Okay, take a deep breath and let's think. I said, we have this relationship with this nursing program that will get you to become a nurse's assistant. If you get to be a nursing assistant, you can go to work in the hospital. If you do a good job as a nursing assistant, the hospital has funds to train you to become a nurse. And so there's lots of ways to get to where you want to go. And so I will pay for you to go. Out of my pocket, I will pay for you to go. It's about 2 years of university cost to go through this program. And so I said, I will pay for you to go, and you go and you try. And she just got a job in a hospital. Now, when you see these kids realize, okay, I have a chance, that's like rest. That's a blessing.
How many students do you hear from on a regular basis that have already left?
All of the young people that have gone through our program contact us continually. Not only that, if they have days off, they will call us and say, can we come stay at the farm? And we'll say, come on. We'll throw another bed on the ground you can come on. And so we have all the young people that go through these programs. They're so appreciative, and they call us. They keep us informed with what's going on in their lives, and they come back regularly to be with us and to. Most of them we see every Sunday anyway, because all those that live close enough come to worship every Sunday, and so we see those regularly anyway. And even some of those on their days off will say, "Can we come stay at the farm?" And so,
Well, how big is the farm?
land-wise, we have about 3 acres, and on the land there's my house, there's my kitchen, which is separate from my house. Then the kitchens in Thailand are separate because it's too hot to cook in the house, so they're separate. And then we have what we call the VIP room, because we have very important people that come help us, and so it's like a hotel room. It's a really nice room that we put together for that purpose. And then we have our Bible storage room, then we have our office, then we have our library, because when we have kids come to study, they have to have a library. And so we have a library full of Bible books, but also chemistry, physics, all that kind of stuff as well. And so we have that. Then we have the church building, and then we have the church's kitchen, and then we have the dormitory, and then we have animal pens, and then we have 100 fruit trees, and then we have more animal pens, and then we have this field that we just bought that we're going to put those houses on so that we can take care of more people
On 3 acres.
on 3 acres.
How about transportation? Do they ride bicycles or?
Okay. Most people in Thailand, the family vehicle is a 120cc motorcycle. And I say family vehicle because I've seen up to 6 people on one. It's not unusual to see 4. You hardly ever see just one person on a motorcycle. They can't afford cars or, like us, trucks. And so most families use motorcycles. Now, the kids that stay at our dormitory, I own about 7 motorcycles, and they go back and forth to school, which is 3 kilometers from our house, about a little under 2 miles from our house. They ride those motorcycles back and forth. In order to ride one of the motorcycles that I own, they, number 1, have to have a driver's license, and number 2, they have to wear a helmet, and number 3, they can't let anybody else drive it. And so they know the rules, and they abide by them. Now, most of the kids don't have driver's license, and so I pay for them to go take the test and get driver's license, and then after they've got their driver's license, then they're allowed to drive the motorcycles back and forth to school.
Since we're not singing tonight, tell us about the singing over there.
Okay. We sing a lot of the same songs you do, but we don't have very many songs. So we have about 350 songs. I asked last night, you want me to lead this one in Thai or not? Mi alai long ba pa dai, mi de pralohi pra Yesu. What will wash away my sins? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. And so we sing the same type of songs that you do, but we sing in Thai.
Those kids that eat 3 times, what do you feed them several days together, or is it just one
Those-
day? You know, your kids eat, say, 3 times. What
Yeah.
Do they get fed the next day too? Or is it just a one
They
day?
live there. They get fed every day.
Well,
3
there's
meals
not no
a
way
day.
of telling them don't eat so much at one day, where you could have better.
I don't have a
finances.
heart to do that. Like I said, Thai people say my heart's too soft. I don't know, but I just can't stand it. You know, when I think about them not having food and then coming and enjoying food, I have real problem saying you
How
can
long
only have
does
this
those
one.
kids live there in the dorm?
Usually 3 years, because they'll go 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. But some kids will go to university close to us, and they may stay through university. The young men that are now in preaching training school, as soon as we get their building built, they will continue to live. But right now they're living in the dormitory. They eat every day. continue to eat every day. And so right now we feed about 15 to 20 kids. So that's like feeding 60 kids 3 meals a day, every day.
How often, or do you have visitors that come? You kind of mentioned a hotel room. Sounds like you have, like from the States, people that come. How often do you have people who come and work with you?
Okay, we have people from America come 3 to 4 times a year. People from Singapore come twice a year. People from Hong Kong usually come once a year. And so we have people with us a lot. And now when they're with us, then we feed them too.
Like, any other questions?
What would be like the thing that's like most on your heart for us to pray for you guys about?
Strength. We get tired. I'll just be honest. We get tired. There's 4 people who are preachers, and we work 7 days a week. We don't stop. We have too much work to do, and so strength to keep up so that we can get these young guys trained. Someone told me, "What are you going to do when you get those young guys trained? You're going to stop?" I said, "No, we're going to go to other places that we haven't been to yet." And so we hope it just grows and grows and grows. And so far, it's grown beyond our wildest dreams and more quickly than we could have ever imagined.
You talk about going into the mountains to preach or minister, and what is it like, and what do you see in the mountains as far as people?
Okay, poverty like you can't imagine. We go through the mountains, and honestly, the roads are terrible if they're there. And a lot of times we go around the corner and half the road is gone, slid off the mountain. Landslides are really terrible during the rainy season. And if half the road's gone, that means probably 2-3 years before that road is built back. And so there's no signs ahead of time. You get there and there's 2 lanes of traffic on 1 lane, some going up and some coming down. And so you just have to watch and be careful. So the roads are terrible, and so it takes a huge amount of time to travel. When we get into these villages, the people, I keep saying, if you're poor in America, you're rich in most of the world. And that's the truth, and I know people probably don't believe me, but these people have nothing. A lot of the kids that come to our camp, we have to buy clothes for so that they will have a change of clothes. They don't have a change of clothes. They have a set of clothes, and that's what they have. That's it. And so if a lot of times kids will say, "I can't come to camp," and we'll say, "Why?" I don't have any clothes to change into. And so we buy clothes for probably 70 or 80 kids every year when we get around to camp time, so that they have clothes to wear. We end up buying school uniforms every year. And you say, "Well, can't they wear them 2 years, or can't they hand them down?" And the answer is no. When you wash uniforms in dirty water for a year, they're not usable again. They're worn out. And a lot of them wash by hand out of water they've dipped out of a creek. And that's not clean creeks. And so by the end of a year, their uniforms are not usable. The people in Singapore, they help a lot with the young people. And they keep asking me, "Well, why go through so many uniforms?" I said, just come and look where they wash, and look at the uniforms after they've used them for a whole year, and you'll see why they're just not usable. And so we end up buying school uniforms every year. Get back to the people. They're dirt poor. They don't have anything. One of the things people ask people as a greeting in Thailand is, "Have you eaten yet?" And it is not an empty question. They want to know, have you eaten yet? And a lot of times the answer is no. One quick story. The first village we went to in the mountains, there were 10 houses. No. There were 10 shacks. And we went and we sat down with the few people that lived in this village, and I gave them the greeting, "Have you eaten yet?" And they said, "We don't have anything to eat." Whole village, nothing to eat. We visited with them for a little while, and we started down the mountain. We got to this little place in the road where there's a little store, and I whipped over, and they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "We're buying food and we're going back." We took food back. We found out that there were 3 Christians in that village. They'd been baptized 20 years before. They had been left there. Like we talked about babies baptized and left. That's what happened. We put a preacher there. We decided we'd build a little church building. So we decided, since there were 30 people in the village, we'd build a church building that seated 60. I say seated, on the ground. So we built a building that seated 60. Within a year, it was too small. And so we built a bigger building. And now then, there's probably 40 people living in the village, but we have 90 at services. I gotta tell you, God has opened some doors. And so, like I said, there's a lot of work to do, but we are physically tired, but we are spiritually built up. And so that's our work in a nutshell, pretty much. It's physically we're exhausted, but what comes from that is worth the effort of what we do. Is there anything else real quick at 7 o'clock?
What kind of vehicle do you ride personally?
I have a Ford Ranger. It's the strongest pickup that they have, and it's the biggest pickup that they have in Thailand. It has a 210 horsepower. It's diesel and 4-wheel drive. And that's what I use. That's the strongest truck they have, and so most of the other trucks only have about 160 horsepower, and so that's why we buy Ford, and it gets us everywhere we need to go. So, yes.
Why don't you ride a motorcycle?
I did ride a motorcycle. I had a wreck. I broke my collarbone in 2 places, 4 ribs, and my shoulder blade, and so I drive a truck.